Every day, the future's getting closer.
Welcome to Master the NEC, where we talk about the National Electrical Code and all things electrically related. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host, and welcome to today's podcast. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Master the NEC, where we talk about the National Electrical Code and all things electrically related. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host, as always, and welcome to the podcast. So on today's episode, we're going to look at another 2020 change, and I guess it's less of a change because it's a small change, but because of how it impacts the industry, and it's caused quite a bit of controversy since it even came on the picture or on the scene back in '99, was AFCIs. Now, in the 2020 code, there was a lot of talk, and it was a push to basically turn all 120 volt single phase 15 to 20 amp branch circuits within a dwelling unit to be AFCI protected. Now, we're almost there now. With the list that's in 210.12a, this is a long list. The good news, from 17 to 2020, the edition that we're getting ready to go into now, there wasn't any location changes, that part, when it comes to A for the dwelling unit. Now, we do have some changes that are adding over into C, which is the addition of patient sleeping rooms and nursing homes and limited care facilities. And of course, in D, the extensions, we had some language added to that. But other than that, it was just kind of some clarifications that were added. Now, the items, the 6 options to meet it. Now, I guess we should start out by saying, what are the areas that require, in A for dwelling unit, in a dwelling unit, what are the areas that require AFCI protection? Well, it says dwelling unit kitchens, family rooms, dining rooms, living rooms, parlors, libraries, dens, bedrooms, sunrooms, recreation areas. Recreation rooms, closets, hallways, laundry areas, or similar rooms or areas shall be protected by any of the means described in 210.12a1 through 6. So you got 6 options. Okay. The reason we have the similar rooms or areas is that any of these given areas could be in a dwelling that resembles the use that might be listed here, and it could be that the AHJ makes a determination that it's a similar room as one that's listed here. And so notice it doesn't say such as. So this list is very specific on what rooms or areas are required to have the AFCI protection. Of course, we're talking about the branch circuit because it's a 120 volt single phase 15 and 20 ampere branch circuit. So you see 120, we're talking about the branch circuit, whereas you see 125 or 250, we're probably talking about a device requirement like you see in 210.8 for GFCIs. So here we're talking about the branch circuit. Now, you're given 6 options here to meet this, okay? And so of these options, the only one that has a change really to it is item number 5. Now, in the 2017 code, item number 5 said if, this is if you're going to use, if it's RMC, IMC, EMT type MC or steel armored type AC, because they do make a steel and aluminum armored, both MC or AC. It is available. It's an AC cable meeting the requirements of 250.118. Okay, then metal wireways, metal auxiliary gutters, and metal outlets and junction boxes are installed for the purpose of the branch circuit between the branch circuit overcurrent device that's in the panel and the first outlet. That would be if it's a receptacle outlet that you put a receptacle in it. It says it shall be permitted to install a listed outlet branch circuit type AFCI at the first outlet to provide protection for the remaining portion of the branch circuit. Okay, so that was 2017 code. So it could be a faceless or maybe it was like a receptacle type or however they make them. You could put that in the first outlet as long as it was one of these wiring methods. Predominantly, these are obviously all metal wiring methods. Well, in the 2020 code, they didn't really say that the way it is. So they kind of made it general instead of listing RMC, IMC, EMT. They said this: if it's a metal raceway metal wireway, metal auxiliary gutters, or type MC or type AC cable. So again, remove the issue of having to be the steel armored type AC cable, meeting the applicable requirements of 250.118. Well, normal MC doesn't meet that, but you can get where the MC's outer, the actual armor is utilized as a effective ground fault current path or as an equipment grounding conductor. So yes, you can get type MCs that'll meet this requirement, okay, to meet the 250.118. And then it says, in conjunction again with metal boxes, metal conduit bodies was added in here, and metal enclosures are installed for the portion of the branch circuit between the branch circuit overcurrent device, that's at the panel, and the first outlet. It shall be permitted to install a listed outlet branch circuit type AFCI at the first outlet to provide protection for the remaining portion of the branch circuit. So you have the allowances. That part, what changed is instead of giving you this RMC, IMC, EMT, they just basically said metal raceways. Okay. And of course, MC and AC are cable assemblies, so okay, they're not raceways. And so just kind of clarified down the requirements and made it really clear that we're talking about metal boxes, metal conduit bodies, and metal enclosures that might be installed in this assembly from the actual branch circuit overcurrent device in the panel out to that first outlet. Okay? All right, so that's what changed in the 2020 code. Also, the only other thing that really changed is verbiage is down in the exception. And this exception was, again, to not require AFCI protection on the individual branch circuit that happens to be supplying a fire alarm systems that's installed in accordance with 76041B or 760.121B. And it says the branch circuit, it goes on to qualify now. It says that branch circuit, it says the branch circuit shall be installed in a, and again, rather than this list of different types of raceways, it says shall be installed in a metal raceway, metal auxiliary gutter, steel armored cable, or type AC or a steel armored cable type MC or type AC, meeting the applicable requirements of 250.118 with metal boxes, conduit bodies, and enclosures. Okay, so a little different here because it seems to call out when it says steel armored cable, then it says type MC or AC cable, meeting the applicable requirements of 250.118. Whereas up in the item 5, for example, it's going to say, well, it's going to be type MC or type AC. It doesn't really have any bearing on whether it's a steel armored cable or not. Okay, and the way this is broken down, it's steel armored cable, comma, type MC or type AC, comma, meeting the applicable requirements of 250.118 with metal boxes, conduit bodies, and enclosures. Kind of fragmented in how that's there, but you see the difference. So that's the exception to the rule. And when you look at the exception that's in the 2017 code, it really listed out RMC, IMC, EMT, and that type of thing. All right, so again, only change in that really from the 2017 code is it got rid of the individual statement of RMC, IMC, and EMT and just said, you know what, metal raceway, there you go. Metal auxiliary gutter, that was added in here. That wasn't in the previous one like that, okay? All right, so that's the change. And, of course, it added about the conduit bodies and enclosures that might be imposed into the system that you're running for this individual branch circuit for this AFCI protection. If it's a fire alarm system and you meet all these rules, then you don't have to have AFCI protection on it, okay? All right. What else do I need to look at? Okay, so that covers that as far as the dwelling unit applications and then the A1 through A6. Now let's look at the change in C, which is guest rooms, guest suites, and patient sleeping rooms of nursing homes and limited care facilities. That is new because in the previous it just said guest rooms and guest suites. Okay, so now it's expanded. So the part that's changed, and I'll read you down because all the other stuff hasn't changed. It's still 120 volt single phase, 15 and 20 amp branch circuit supplying outlets and devices installed in guest room and guest suites of hotels and motels. It also now says, and in the patient sleeping rooms in a nursing home and limited care facility. Of course, you can find the definitions of those. 517 will give you the definitions of what qualifies and what doesn't to limited care facility or the nursing home. And it shall be protected by any of the means described in 210.12a1 through 6, one of the things we just kind of discussed. So all of them can be used in there as well. The next thing that we go is to D. Now, D in the 2017 code says branch circuit extension and modifications for dwelling units and dormitory units. Well, the change in the 2020 is it says branch circuit extensions or modifications, dwelling units, dormitory units, and guest rooms and guest suites. Okay, that is an expansion off of what it was simply to dwelling units and dormitory units. Okay, so we're picking up the guest rooms and guest suites in this extension and modification rule. Okay, and it allows me some options here. Obviously, the first one, it says by any of the means described in 210.12a1 through a6, and again, that's all of the dwelling unit means. And we just briefly talked about item 5 and how that kind of changed to kind of encompass all the metal raceways rather than listing them all out. But you have plenty of options here. Okay, and then it says, well, the other option is a listed outlet branch circuit type AFCI located at the first receptacle outlet of the existing branch circuit. Okay, so right there where the first one is, and you're going to extend it from there, you can put one in right there and be able to do it right there. Okay, and that is one of the options that you can achieve this rule for the circuit extension and modification rule. Okay, now so the importance of this is there was a lot of confusion on where you make this measurement. So there's an exception that says, look, if I am extending a branch circuit and the conductors of the extension is not more than 6 feet and does not include any additional outlets or devices, and of course splicing devices aren't considered additional outlets or devices, okay? Make that clear, other than splicing, so that's just to facilitate the extension. If I'm not exceeding 6 feet, and this is kind of comes to me when I'm doing a panel change. I'm making a panel change and I've got to go and I'm moving a panel and I'm going to go and it's not going to be more than 6 feet. I'm not really modifying or extending the branch circuit, even though, I mean, obviously I am a small portion, but many people thought that this was where you were going to actually have to make people put AFCIs in all of those branch circuits because you're modifying or you're technically extending them. So this rule came in to say, well, look, if I'm moving it and I'm not extending them more than 6 feet, then it doesn't have to just apply to the panel board. I'm just saying, in this case, I'm not extending it. Then I've got an exception that says as long as it's not more than 6 feet, but I'm not extending it to include any additional outlet or device, then I don't have to upgrade this to AFCI protection. Makes sense. Well, of course, then people said, how do I measure this 6 feet? And what's the criteria? Do I measure it once it gets into the enclosure? Then do I follow the length of the conductor all the way down to the device? And is it 6 feet of conductor? Or is it 6? So they made it really clear here in the last sentence. It says the measurement, that 6 feet that we're talking about, this measurement shall not include the conductors inside an enclosure, cabinet, or a junction box. So it's specifically from cabinet to cabinet. It's from junction box to junction box, not the wiring that's within the box. Okay? Important clarification on this change. So, again, if I'm going to extend a branch circuit or modify a branch circuit, but that modification is because I'm moving it or because of maybe a remodel or something, and I'm doing this, then as long as I'm not going more than 6 feet and I'm not adding an outlet and I'm not adding a device, then I can go up to 6 feet. Well, how do I measure it? Okay, it's from the box to box, enclosure to enclosure, okay? From junction box to junction box. I am not adding the conductors inside of the actual enclosures. And I'm also not going to count splicing devices that I'm utilizing this extension as something that's going to trigger that I'm modifying it and I'm going to have to put AFCI in it. Okay, so that was the significance of making sure that people knew that the splicing devices, whatever they are not going to be a trigger in this application. They don't qualify as an additional outlet or device. Okay, they are splicing for the intent to meet the need to relocate or move the receptacle or something like that, or a panel, for example. But the key is the measurement. The conductors inside, it doesn't matter. Once they enter that enclosure or that box, that's not what you're starting to count. You're only counting the portion that's between enclosure to enclosure, between junction box to junction box, between cabinet to cabinet. That is it, not the conductors inside of the actual boxes or enclosures or whatnot. Okay, so that's your change for 210.12. Nothing earth-shattering, maybe some clarity when it comes to this branch circuit extensions and modifications that you get out of that. Other than that, added some locations. We picked up the limited care facility. We picked up nursing homes that require AFCI protection. Makes sense. I guess in 2023, they'll make another effort to really make this broadly on all branch circuits that are inside of a dwelling. You also might see the push for it to include all 240 volts, kind of like what we have for the GFCI. I don't know. I'm not saying that's going to come, but you know what? Who knows? So that's it, folks. Hopefully you got something out of this change. This was your change to 210.12 A, B, C, and D. Again, not a whole lot of changes, just some more clarification changes to be aware of. Hopefully you got something out of it. Visit our website, masterthenec.com. Share it with people. Go to electrocodecademy.com, share that with people, listen to the podcast and the videos, and anything I can do to help you, please let me know. I answer all of my emails. Anything you send in, if you know me, you know I'll answer the emails. Haters being what they are, they always love to do their hate. I love it because if they're listening to this and they still got the urge to thumbs down, that means they have, one, they have no life, and two, they don't matter, do they? So, hey, at least I got them to listen. And guess what? I already got paid because you listened to it. You fool! Anyway, thanks for listening. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hopefully I've helped somebody out there. Until next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.
Every day, the future's getting closer. Every day, the future's looking bright. Every day is another beginning.